Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to part 1 of my playthrough of the Frog Fanatic scenario. And this scenario is a limited time scenario. It is available to start until May 24th. At the time that I'm recording, there's 8 days left before it disappears. However, if you start before the 24th, it will still be available for you to continue to play. Also, if you use mods, Twisted Mexies has a mod that lets you get all the scenarios, so including past limited time ones, at any time. So if you do, you can start it whenever you want. I know at one point on console that if you were offline, then you also had past scenarios. There's been an update to like the number and whatnot of scenarios since then, so I'm not sure if that's still the case. So if you're on console and that is still the case, let me know in a comment down below. So the requirements are a sim who is young, adult, or older, and then the outcome is that we have to complete all the goals and find all the frog friends. When I saw that, I initially thought that meant you had to complete the frog collection, but you do not. You only have to get so many of each type of frog, which we'll go into more detail once we get into live mode. You can only do this with a new household. You can't play it with an existing household. It gives you the message that it's not compatible with them. So we're going to play with a new household. You can either start in a new save or an existing save. I'm going to start in a new save. So I'll be back when I have the next screen up. So we're here with our sim, Felicia Felder. You can see her traits there and that she is a spellcaster. I will just show her outfits quickly, just so you can see them. I have given her green and red as colors she likes. That doesn't really matter. It's not really relevant to the scenario itself. But what is probably more relevant are is the aspiration that I chose, which was the curator aspiration. It gives you the collector trait, which it's supposed to give you doubles when you find collectibles, though I don't find that I think that works that well with frogs. That's what I've heard. But she is a spellcaster, which is also relevant because if you level up your spellcaster 1 level, which we will do with her, you can buy your first perk or your spellcaster perk, and the one that can help you with with the aspiration and also with this particular scenario is the one that lets you get more things. Incredible Forager is what it is, but we will see that when we get into live mode. I've also given her Geek because that I think is supposed to help you with collectibles, and then she's creative and an animal enthusiast, whatever traits you like, but the Geek is the main one that probably can be helpful. Love the outdoors might be decent also. So this is Felicia, and let's go to live mode where we can see the scenario goals and also see where she's going to be living. So she's going to be starting with the starting funds of 20,000, and I'm going to put her on the Pebble Burrow lot in Oasis Springs because it's only 1,500, and the house I have created that is on the gallery is with the 1,500, and the cost of the house is just under 20,000, so she'll be able to afford the house. So I am going to select that to move her in, and I'll be back. So one thing to note when you start with this particular scenario is your sim will start with level 2 of cooking and just slightly over. It's level 1 of fishing, but with some close to level 2 is what I'm trying to say. So here are the Frog Fanatic goals for the scenario. But before we do that, let's give her a house. So here's the house that I've shared on the gallery. It's a Frog Fanatic micro with pond. So it is a micro lot, but it's built with walls, and only the center part is the actual house, quote unquote house. It has a garden. It has the pond. The pond comes pre-stocked with fish, so your sim can fish right away. And as I said, it's 18,099. I didn't say that, but plus the 1,500. That's why we can afford, because we have 18,500. So you wouldn't be able to place this on a lot that was 2,000 or more and use it with a starting sim and keep it furnished. And as you can see, it is a 30 by 20 lot. And I'm going to place it now. I do need to change it to a tiny home because that's what it is up on the gallery, and that's where you get the boost for the garden and learning skills. And learning skills is relevant for this particular scenario because you need to get your cooking skill to level 7 to be able to do one of the goals, and you need to get your fishing skill to level 3 for another one of the goals. So we have we have the goals of we need to catch a frog from a log, and we have to catch a frog from a pond. The ponds you build will count for that, as do the debug ponds that come in the parks that are in the base game worlds, and also base game worlds. I'm saying base game when the game came out, but also Newcrest has some ponds, or has a pond in one of the neighborhoods. And I don't know that you can catch frogs from that pond now that I think about that. So probably irrelevant. But I mean the bug ponds that will be at the Oasis Spring Park and the Willow Creek Park to start with. And also at Sylvan Glade, which also has frog logs there. I don't remember that it has the frogs from a water pump, but this neighborhood actually has frogs from logs and frogs from water pumps. And since I put a pond on this particular lot, we have that. So you can get all of those in this one location because of this pond. But also I'm going to take her to Magic HQ like I talked about, and they have some frogs and logs and also frogs and water pumps there. So let's move along to the rest of it. So then you need to breed 9 frogs, which is going to be helpful when you're trying to collect all your different frogs anyways. And I'll go over, some tips that I have in my frog breeding tutorial, but I'll touch on that briefly. And it really uses the guide from Carl Sims. I use that extensively to be able to work on that. You have to cook boiling frog hot pot. That is, if you look over the tooltip, that's where you need your level 7 of cooking. The other thing is that to cook a boiling frog hot pot, you need to be on an off-the-grid lot, or you need to cook with others. Because when you cook with others, it unlocks a lot of the recipes that you normally would need, certain requirements, like being, in this case, off the grid. And then also I've noticed like some lifestyle foods that come with Snowy Escape, that you have access to those, and possibly some other ones that I just don't really, know where they come from, but you can, get to some recipes that your sim would not otherwise be able to get to just by doing a cook with someone else. Obviously, we have one sim, so we'll befriend a couple of sims and, have someone come over and do that way, as opposed to going off the grid. You have to fish while using a frog as bait. That requires you to be level 3 of fishing. You don't actually have to catch the fish with the frog. You just need to, ask them to fish with the frog as bait. Though right now there is a bug report with respect to the ponds that you build that you cannot fish with bait. It ends up being grayed out. So the last 3 things we need to do is we need to catch or breed 8 unique common frogs. There are only actually 8 common frogs, so for that part you need to complete that part of the collection. You have to catch or breed 6 unique uncommon frogs. There are 11 in total, so you don't need to get them all in that case. And catch or breed 4 unique rare frogs, in which case there's actually 6 of those to start with. One thing I've noticed, because I have played through this scenario before, is that if you complete, say you got 4 of the unique rare frogs, and then you save and quit and go back in, it'll then show it as 1 of 1, but you'll always see that it was 4 in the description. So here are essentially all of the goals we need to do to complete this. So one thing that I have with this house is it's pretty basically furnished. There's only one bedroom that is furnished. Well, that has a bed. That's over here. This is sort of set up as an office. I actually have stairs going up to what is ostensibly the unfurnished attic up here, which could be an extra bedroom. And then you've got essentially this open area. So this center area here is the micro home that has that is actually connected. But the rest is just walls. And then there is a chicken coop with no chickens in it. That's why it's not as expensive. And then it has a garden with pretty extensive, but it needs to grow. And one advantage is that if you want to aspiration swap like I do, you can water the plants. And that would help you with the gardening aspiration. You just need to, harvest something, buy something that you can plant some more things. Or the friend Patchy, unlock something, hopefully get something from him and plant something from there. But, and as I said, this is on the gallery. So one thing that I do have, if you play with the spellcaster, is right off the bat, I have a magic mop. so that your sim can grab that and put it in their inventory, since she is, oh, that's considered a collectible. I didn't realize that. So, so we are going to take her to Magic HQ, where we're going to actually work on her magic, like I said, because we want her to get to level up 1 level so that she can get that incredible forager perk from being, spellcaster. And then we're going to go collecting at Magic HQ, and we're going to try and get the frogs and from the log and the water pump after we get that perk, and hopefully get some extra ones. So I will be back when we're there. I'll have her just try and learn some magic. You don't need to see that, so that she can be leveled up, and at that point we'll start doing the collecting. So she's here. It is obviously later because I had to get her to meet and befriend. That's what I like to do. The 3 sages. So she's now learnt some magic from all of them. She's learned 4 potions, and you can see she has leveled up and she has a talent point. So we're going to go into spellcaster perks. And as I said, the one that I find very useful is this incredible forager, because you get more items when harvesting magical ingredients in the magic realm, which counts for collectibles. And what I have usually noticed, but sometimes I don't, I will get with you, when you combine this with the collector trait, you can get 4 things. Without the collector trait, you get 2. And sometimes the collector trait doesn't always kick in, and so I'll only get 2, which is from this in particular. So there we go. We have got that. And I have said that she will always use broom so she can fly around here, and she has a lot of pictures because that's how I easily befriended them in this new save. Normally, once my sims have more traits, I will have them get incredibly friendly to make friends more easily. So this here is one of the dig sites. I don't know that it's going to be very useful. I'm just probably going to just have her collect things in general, not just the frogs. So we're going to put her over onto the curator aspiration, so that when she's collecting things, if they are actually collectibles, they will count. Sometimes I find you might get, fossils or capsules, and until you open them up, they won't count as the collectible. You can also get upgrade parts from these particular dig sites, and treasure maps, which you can also get from the other ones. So she just needs to come and hopefully get some collectibles. Okay, so she got upgrade parts. So she did not get collectibles, and she got 4, which I think normally you get 2, so that looks like it doubled it, which kind of makes sense that you wouldn't get more with the collector thing. So let's hope here that she gets 4, because we need those frogs, and this will then mark off this catching a frog from a log. And what did she get? She got 2. She did not get more. But what we can do right away, since we have 2 at least, we can breed them together, and then we will get 1 of those breeding, and we got a 3rd different unique frog. So yay for that. And that is, we have 2 common and 1 uncommon here. So this is uncommon. So the surfer leaf was uncommon, and the dirt and the leaf are common. So let's keep looking. So that's 1 spot that I usually find a frog, but obviously it has to respawn. Now, Carl Sims has a mod to help things respawn more quickly. It's currently in early access. So obviously, if you had early access to that, that would help you with this particular one. I think it's just for collectibles in general. So she got 2. She only got 2. So I sometimes get 4, but for some reason with her, I'm not. And we got a rare one and an uncommon one. So we should be at 2, 2, and 1. So at least we're, it's still helping, but I think that's coming from her incredible forager perk. So that is definitely useful. And we are just going to, I'll have her fly here and dig this up. And I'll have her just collect some things around here, like here. Another thing is we can try and see if we can get any frogs. We don't have a lot of money, but why don't we just sell these pictures and get hundreds of millions back out of that? and see if we have anything that we can buy from here, because that is somewhere you can get frogs. So she got, see there, she got 4 from that. Did she get 4? Yeah, because then she got some more. So she's gotten 8 crystals out of that. Anyway, I thought it was 8, but oh, she got doubles there, so it is 8. So we're gonna look here, and so we have no frogs, but sometimes they do have frogs, which is why I was looking to see if they had frogs. And everything here tends to be pretty pricey, and I don't need anything. The Obtainian can be useful for, you need that for a particular, so I'll just buy that even though that doesn't help. But it will help. It should help with the collectibles. Now we need to collect crystals. Oh, and it's already noticing those for some, well, we must have already got to that, so we didn't need to get, we did need to get that, but for the aspiration. So I'm gonna look here, because we can get that last crystal that we need, and we'll buy a couple of cheap ones, and we could have got the magic mop. So sometimes they're not here, and also we used it to get around. So now the other location here that has the frog, the water pump, is by the fishing area. The second fishing area. So it's right here. So this here is a water pump. So we're going to look for frogs and see what she gets, because she needs to collect 3 more frogs. And we unfortunately weren't able to get any frogs from the shop. And she actually wants to collect a new frog. So we'll pin that, because we would like you to collect a new frog too, Felicia. And we'll see what, well, she'll get 2 frogs for sure, and she only got 2. And I think we already had a leaf, but I don't know whether we had the spotted leaf. So and I don't remember where we were. Well, we'll be able to tell, because there'll be 2 of them if we had it. So we're gonna dig that up, but obviously the digging the other things is not helping with this. So there, we didn't have the spotted heart frog. So that was one unique frog that we got out of that. So I'm going to just have her dig up the rest of the sites that aren't anything to do with frogs. And I'm going to take her back home, and I'll be back when we're like doing the hunting in the pond. She's back home. So we're going to we should be able to breed. So we're going to breed 1 frog with a spotted heart frog. So we got the 3rd frog, but we didn't get anything unique. So what I usually use, as I was mentioning, is, and I'll show a screenshot, and I go into more detail in my frog tutorial that I have, which has like timestamps so you can see the different sections. You can see it set up in a grid, and sometimes I even put my frogs in the world in a grid, which is how I show it in that particular tutorial. And if you, say, want to try for a whirly flower frog, you would breed one of the sunflower frogs at the bottom with a whirl frog, which is like the hypno frog or any of the ones down the right hand side. And you're not going to get it for sure, but you're more likely, you need to have some combination of some type of whirl frog and some type of sunflower frog to usually get the whirly flower frog. Essentially, you need one of those 2 components. So say you bred a heart frog with a hypno frog, you're not going to get a whirly flower frog, because that requires like the lowest level, the sunflower, and also a hypno type frog. But anyways, you can do it across the grid. So I just bred, and we just got the same type. So we're going to look for frogs to try and get this catch a frog in a pond. And I didn't mean to say play in water. I meant to say look for frogs. And if you look here, if you are interested in using this particular house, you can see it comes stocked already with those fish, and she hasn't fished. She hasn't caught any fish yet. That is just when you upload a pond that has someone who has caught the fish, it, at least right now, it'll keep that and maintain it when it goes on the gallery and when you place it again. So the pond comes ready, quote unquote, stocked, so that your Sims can try and catch those fish. If you place a brand new fishing sign, then it, like when you're doing a build and no one's fished, you don't usually get any. So, but we've caught a frog from the pond because it shows that we did that. But obviously you can see that is not guaranteed. Most of them are not going up. Well, we got another one. We got 11. So we've gotten 2 so far. And we have 2 of 8 common, 5 of 6 uncommon, and 1 of the 4 rare frogs. So we'll see. She's getting pretty tired, so she's going to need to go to sleep. And I think we shall let her do that. And then in the next part, we will work on getting so we actually got that 6th uncommon frog. And we'll let her go to sleep, and I will be back, and we will try to get this done in the next part just by me skipping over some of the playthrough. So that's going to be it for this part. Likes and comments are always appreciated, and they really help with the algorithms. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!